you could get with that, which is a stock one, or you could get with this. Notice any difference? Yeah. Anyway, there's your intro. I think this is going to be a good video to discuss today's topic. Wait a minute. Let me pause the music first. Okay, this is a Nissan VK45DE engine. It is used in this configuration in the 2006 through 2010 Infiniti M45. The vehicle we're looking at here is a 2007 Infiniti M45, and the coolant system has had a rough life. First, let me show you this, if I could get the flashlight on. Perfect. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about is, this is the upper radiator hose. It's got a bulge over here, which shouldn't be so, but this one here had some corrosion on the filler neck that was not addressed. So it ended up, see how loose it is? It shouldn't really just slide off by itself like that. But, and as you can see, this aluminum pipe is black because of the corrosion that was happening there. I scraped it off and you can see a little bit of that powder, orangish light yellow powder. But that's not the topic of discussion for today. What I want to talk about is the thermostat housing. This is where your front, well, it is called the thermostat. I call it the front thermostat is housed. Filler neck, radiator cap, all the way down. Let's look at this engine. Okay, filler neck, radiator cap, and this coolant neck, coolant tube goes in there under the intake manifold, and this is your thermostat housing. So there's a thermostat, brand new one. Thermostat into your lower radiator hose. So coolant comes this way, and if once it gets hot enough, it will open up your radiator cap. Once it's cold, or at least if your coolant is too cold, you'll close it up and you won't get cooling from the radiator, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what I actually want to address is this radiator cap, this thermostat housing. Let's get to it. I think I'll remove the Vias vacuum canister first. 12mm bolts. So 12mm tools is all that you need today. Obviously, you notice that once I lifted this, there was no coolant that drained out. Yeah, I've done a little bit of that. I've been draining coolant down there through the bottom of the radiator housing. Let me set that there so that I don't lose it. There are two ways to remove this. It depends on what you're trying to do exactly. So I'll deal with a harder method first. Well, let me do the easier method first. I'm going to cheat. I'll use my power tool because I lost the advantage of my other hand because it's holding the camera. As I said, 12mm tools. This is the easier way, depending on what you have for your resources. Pull it out, and it's not going to leak because I've drained most of it. And once you have this out, get your pliers here. And once you get your, pull the pliers, pull the clamp, and you can easily twist this as you work it loose. However, if you happen to be making a video like I am, sometimes you have to get a little smarter with the process. So I'll just place those bolts there, just enough to do what I do because I don't have my other hand working for me. That's the other method. And once you have that, you'll be twisting the hose. Twist the hose and out. Bend it out of the way. I prefer the first method because you can just pull it out of the way, right? Okay, so this is your thermostat housing. And this one does not look too bad. I've had worse ones. Great, this bolt down here is stuck. I don't know what that's about. Not a problem anymore. So this, I'll have that set off to the side. I'm not gonna fight it. Remove this. So here it is. Here's your thermostat housing. Plastic, and this one looks pretty new considering considering the condition of the rest of the coolant system. This one looks really, really good. I don't know if it's a new one. They replaced it, I'm not quite sure. Anyway, I'll set that to the side. Sometimes, though, you get a situation like this. See how this one looks? This one here doesn't look too bad, right? It's got a little bit of brown, but it's not terrible. This one here looks like it's got a lot of pitting on it. Maybe running too hot, cavitation from running the wrong coolant mix. But so you have this situation, and sometimes, it's not very common, but sometimes they break. So if that's the case with you, you need to come up with something creative, Maybe I might have something up my sleeve, quite literally. Okay, look at that. That's an all-metal thermostat housing. I received this from a fabricator who made this part and reached out, and I volunteered to test it out. It's made to fit right in place of the OEM one, so the flanges match for the most part. This one looks like it's got a larger bulge. What are the differences there? The straight length seems like you have a little more on the plastic one because it starts right here. So let's lay this off like this. So the metal one is slightly shorter on the neck. Look at this side especially. And let's compare. Yeah, it looks like this neck is a little longer. Anyway, might be a problem, might not be. Let's just see. Let me install this. I might not go all the way, but just enough to get an idea of how well it functions. By the way, you most probably will have the same luck I do in that your thermostat is not going to leak, depending on how old of a system it is, when it was last opened, how well lubricated it is, because the thermostat is stuck on there pretty hard. Okay, good, there you go. Let's get the other bolt. I'll just do 2 for now. On the other hand, I don't know if it was a bad bolt or a bad threaded hole, but let's just install this. That was easy. Guess it's an issue with a bad... Well, something didn't work out there. Okay, so since I don't have the facilities on my other hand, I'll make this work. It's a lot harder to install it here. Well, for one, I don't have any lubricant, and 2, well, let me pull it out again. And why do I torture myself? Okay, you got that versus the plastic one. Well, where is it? Here, the plastic one is beveled, right? This one here is not, and as much as it's flared out, it's going to be a little bit harder over. You can tell that they use this bead. Is it a bead? Yes, it is a flared out bead. It's going to be a little harder to get it on. It's finally in, and one of my concerns was the length of the neck. It does not seem to jive very well with the OEM tube length. You might be able to change something along the way to make it work, but it's a little bit of a concern. See how it looks like it? The light isn't very good, but yeah, it seems like it's kind of dancing around. I'm trying to feel to see where the tube ends. And if you look over here, there's a little bit of a bailing out. It seems like it hit stop. Well, let's just install the clamp. Maybe that will work to allay our fears. Cool kit. Back when automakers used to give you a real toolbox, a real toolkit. This is a Lexus. Anyway, besides the topic. So it sits there, but man, it's a little too close, man. I doesn't. Let me just say I haven't tested it yet, and it's gonna be a while before I'm able to run it, because this engine, that's a knocker, not running. This one here needs to go in there. So with time, I'll be able to test it, but I got a little too excited and decided I had to record a video and put it out there first. So that is it. That's all it takes. And as I've shown in the beginning of the video, there are two ways to do it, right? You could pull the hose and then remove the housing, or you could just pull the whole thing, then remove the clamp if you got the resources to do it. First method is probably easier, maybe less of a mess going on, less chance of damaging your hose too. But so I'll leave that as it is. Again, I talked about the housing. I got it from somebody, a fabricator, making some parts. It's pretty cool that these engines have gotten to a part where people are making custom or aftermarket parts for them. So it does happen sometimes. In dealing with about man, I've seen how many, probably 30 or 40 VK45DE engines by now. Not a single one has had a broken thermostat housing. These ones though, back here, this filler port, those ones do snap off quite often. And actually I'll show you one of those. I think I might be able to. Is this one broken off? No, it's not yet. But this is what I was telling you, that they get that kind of corrosion, that kind of look, and then just snap off when you try to twist the fitting, or rather the screw. So it's a fitting that was given to me, or rather he posted it out there and said, would anyone be interested in trying this out? And I raised my hand because I love VK45. I love VKs in general. Hence that engine too. I'll talk about that in a bit. So, but I've always said that I feel I should always talk about things honestly. I think it's a good fit and finish. It feels good in my hand. I just haven't had a chance to test it yet. But the build is good. You know, for the most part, it sits flush. I have no concerns as to how it fits on there. My only concern, and I'm going to share this with a fabricator, most probably before I post the video, because I'd like to get, you know, kind of maybe no permission, but hey, just a heads up. Is it cool with me sharing this? Would you like me to wait till you fabricate something else? You know, just be a decent human being. You know, I'm not trying to shoot anything down. And then maybe I'll be able to post the video. So first thing, I'll just send the video to him. I'll share the link with him, and he decides what he wants to do with it. I think all I owed him was a picture, really. So, pull this out. I said all I owed him was a picture, but you know, I'm the kind of guy that goes all the way. So, here's video. Fit and finish is good, nice and light. Definitely more durable than plastic. It's one of those risk versus, so likelihood versus severity. Is it a bad thing if it breaks? Definitely. What's the likelihood that it breaks? It's happened to people I know, but in the engines that I've touched, never seen it happen. So here's the other thing. So the VK, have shown how it looks like, right? You have a removable thermostat housing. This is the VK45. Again, filler neck, removable thermostat housing, coolant tube goes under the intake all the way to the back. The M56 engine, it's pretty cool the way they made it. Filler neck, same layout, radiator cap, thermostat housing here, but look closer. Wait a minute. There's no cutout over here. Yeah, because the bolt is actually here. So the whole front face is replaceable. Filler neck and coolant and the thermostat housing. And then you do have your lower radiator hose over here. So the layout is very similar if you've worked on these engines before. So the cool thing about this, and unfortunately, I know this, that you can't just replace it because it's different right under the V, or right under the intake manifold in the V. But that's really cool, so that if you run into a situation like this where on the connections someone did not have a very good maintenance strategy or maintenance procedures for their system, and you end up having corrosion like this, you can replace the whole thing. Just remove the entire thing and just replace that. So that's a cool thing that the M56, or rather the VK56 VD did. I know the VK45 as well as the VK56DE, the Titan, you know, the older engine, the older 5.6, those had the plastic thermostat housings. So that's it. That's as much as I wanted to show in this video, and I'll post it up just in private, share it with the guy who sent the part. You know, it's a big step. Definitely, I think I'm more than anything glad that parts are being made out there now. So hopefully this shakes out to be something good. Okay? All right, cool. Let me put this together, and we'll keep working with all the other things I've been working in the garage. We'll talk later, guys.